The screen is dark, but the silence is deafening. You sent a message hours ago, and since then, nothing. You see the indicators. She is online, sharing her life with the world, yet your conversation remains frozen in time. A cold knot tightens in your chest. But what if this silence isn't your defeat, but your greatest strategic advantage? Ancient philosophy reveals a psychological pivot that completely flips this dynamic, transforming rejection into an irresistible force of character. By the end of this video, you will understand the exact mental shift that turns silence into your ultimate leverage. When someone ignores you, the natural human reaction is to panic. Your mind starts spinning a web of endless questions. Did I say something wrong? Was I too eager? You replay past conversations in your head, hunting for microscopic errors. Stop doing this immediately. This spiral of self-doubt is not a reflection of your worth, but a direct consequence of handing your peace of mind to someone else. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once observed that we are not disturbed by things, but by the views we take of them. When she ignores you, the pain you feel is not caused by her lack of a reply. It is caused by the story you tell yourself about that silence. The moment you stop interpreting her absence as a verdict on your value, you reclaim your sovereignty. Modern psychology suggests that human dynamics are often dominated by subtle tests of boundaries. When someone pulls back, they are consciously or unconsciously observing how you handle their absence. If you react with anxiety, double texting, or anger, you show that your emotional stability depends on their approval. But if you remain completely still, steady, and unfazed, the entire power dynamic shifts. This is not about playing games. It is about realizing that your dignity is too valuable to trade for a digital notification. Have you ever caught yourself refreshing a screen, hoping a single pixel would change to validate your entire existence? Consider this. Why does silence feel like a crisis? It is because we live in an era of cheap validation where we expect instant feedback to feel secure. When that feedback is withheld, we feel a sudden drop in our psychological security. But Stoicism invites us to step out of this fragile cycle. If someone chooses to ignore you, let them. This choice is entirely outside of your control, and in the Stoic tradition, wasting energy on things you cannot control is the ultimate tragedy. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When she goes silent, the outside event is her decision. Your mind is the only territory you are sworn to protect. If you choose to do absolutely nothing in response, you show an elite level of self-control. This stillness is rare. Most people react impulsively, driven by the discomfort of being ignored. They beg, they demand, or they perform. When you choose silence in return, not out of malice, but out of absolute self-possession, you demonstrate that your world does not collapse when someone walks away. Think of a situation where you felt completely dismissed. Your immediate instinct was probably to close the gap, to chase, to explain yourself. But what if, in that exact moment, you stood your ground like a mountain unmoved by a passing breeze? This brings us to the first practical step in reclaiming your power, redirecting your focus entirely back to yourself. Every unit of attention you spend wondering why she hasn't replied is a unit of energy stolen from your own potential. Her silence is actually a gift. It is an invitation to exit the distraction of chasing others and return to the work of building yourself. Imagine shifting that anxious energy into your physical strength. Imagine channelizing that restlessness into a project you have abandoned or a skill you need to master. When you dive deeply into your own purpose, your relationship with time changes. You no longer sit around waiting for a text, because your days are too filled with meaning and action to be derailed by a quiet phone. Women, and indeed people in general, are naturally drawn to those who are locked in on their own mission. Desperation has a specific scent, and so does absolute self-reliance. When you stop prioritizing someone who treats you as an option, you realign yourself with reality. You become magnetic simply because you are no longer trying to pull others toward you. Marcus Aurelius noted that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If your mind is constantly saturated with anxiety over someone else's attention, your character becomes weak and reactive. But when your thoughts are saturated with creation, discipline, and self-respect, your entire presence radiates strength. Ask yourself honestly, when was the last time you let someone else's silence dictate the temperature of your entire day? Let's talk about the psychological concept of natural reversal. When someone pulls away, they often expect you to follow. It is a predictable script. But when you do not follow, when you simply stop and remain where you are, you break the pattern. You introduce a profound question mark into their mind. They begin to wonder why you aren't chasing. They wonder if they have lost your interest, or if you were ever truly dependent on their attention in the first place. This is not a tactic of manipulation. It is the natural consequence of self-respect. You are letting go of expectations. Seneca wrote that the greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today. When you live in expectation of a message, you are not living. You are suspended in a state of purgatory, waiting for another person to grant you permission to feel good. By releasing the expectation of a reply, you reclaim the present moment. If she eventually reaches out after a long silence, the test continues. The temptation is to reply instantly, showing how eager you were, or to respond with cold anger, showing how much her silence hurt you. Both reactions reveal that she still controls your emotional thermostat. The Stoic response is calm indifference. You reply when it is convenient for you, without dramatic displays, and without acknowledging the gap in communication. You treat it as if it is of no consequence, because in the grand scheme of your life, it truly isn't. Think about the people you respect most in this world. Do they beg for attention, or is their presence simply too heavy to ignore? To build this kind of presence, you must master the art of staying calm and unbothered. This is the difference between performing and it is easy to pretend you don't care, but true power lies in genuinely not letting external actions disrupt your internal harmony. When you feel the urge to react, pause. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself that another person's behavior is a reflection of their character, their mood, and their values, not yours. If someone ignores you, it may be because they are overwhelmed, distracted, or simply incompatible with you. None of these reasons require you to lose your peace of mind. By staying calm, you preserve your energy. You avoid the humiliating cycle of demanding explanations. You show that you are an emotionally secure adult who does not need to be constantly reassured by others. This level of emotional stability is incredibly rare, and because it is rare, it is highly respected. What if her silence isn't a rejection of you, but the universe testing whether you are actually ready to lead your own life? This leads us to the ultimate Stoic threshold, complete detachment from the outcome. This is the state of mind where you genuinely do not care whether she responds or not. You are comfortable with either result because your sense of self-worth is entirely self-generated. When you are detached from the outcome, you enter every interaction with freedom. You are no longer performing to be liked. You are simply presenting who you are. If they appreciate it, excellent. If they walk away or go silent, that is also acceptable. Your life goes on. Your path remains unchanged. This mindset is the ultimate shield. It frees you from the anxiety of modern dating, the games of social media, and the constant hunger for external approval. You become a self-contained ecosystem of purpose and peace. Let this sink in. Most people are running through life trying to fill an inner void with the attention of others. They are constantly searching for someone to tell them they are worthy. But a Stoic knows that worth is built in solitude, through discipline, integrity, and self-possession. When you master your emotions, you are no longer a slave to the actions of others. You are free. And that freedom is the most magnetic quality a person can possess. If you are ready to stop chasing and start building, take a small step today. Commit to your own growth. Join our community of minds dedicated to self-mastery by subscribing to this channel. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever let someone's silence control you? And how will you choose to respond next time? Until next time, stay strong, stay centered, and never stop becoming the person you were meant to be.